Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat, Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. I want to thank him for being here with us on this Wednesday. I don't know what we're calling it. Where's Walter Wednesday? It was Wealth Wednesday, and it was with Love Wednesday, and now it's just What the Hell Wednesday, okay? But nevertheless, I'm glad that you are here. I'd like to say a big giant thank you and welcome to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, but you are family, and sometimes we do share the link. All I ask is that if you do come up here and I've never seen you up here before and your screen looks like this, please show me this. And if you so choose to go back to this, you can do that. Just know that no one else can see you but me, not even Donovan. But I need to verify that is no shenanigans because we've had that before. And trust me, I've learned my lesson. So I also like to say with the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people and we can always strive to do better. So with that, I'd like to say that we I asked y'all yesterday, right before we left, what did you want to talk about? And those that answer said, let's talk about Vivek Ramaswamy. And I thought, okay, well, that's odd. And because I did see the video I'm about to play you. Then I was like, okay, I asked, and that's what we're going to do. I'm also going to talk about another video that has been trending around of a father saying that he had to straighten out another father for his daughter bullying his daughter. So we'll get into both of those things. Let's see who came on here. Troy, how are you? Dorothy, what's going on with you? Long time no see. Hey, brother Reggie, how you doing? And Kels, what's up? Judge, what's going on with you? Black America said, what's for lunch? I don't know. You tell me. You crazy, Al. Pastrami sandwich.
Arby's.
Yes. So anyway, I hope that we'll have a lot of fun today, as I believe that we will. But Donovan, what's on your mind, brother? What's on your mind? And I want to say we were a little bit late because we were kind of arguing a little bit, but
no, I don't argue. I just said okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys, welcome back. Where is Walter Wednesday? We could ask that question every Wednesday because Walter is on the go. So let's give a big shout out to brother Walter out there. Again, you guys, thank you for coming in. On the way in, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We really love you guys when you guys come in and do that. It helps the algorithm. Also, do not forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. That way, not only can you see Demetra here, you can see her actually there in her professionalism and her journalism and how she does it professionally. Here, I'm getting Boom Keisha when she comes over here. So, she can let her hair down and kind of just, let it all hang out. So do us a favor, download the African Diaspora News Channel app. It's on your Apple store as well as your Google Play. So this is going to be interesting. So let's get into it because you guys actually are the ones that are going to tell us basically, your thoughts and opinions on what's going on with this. Once again, another first generation immigrant that has come here that has elevated himself above Black Americans descended of slaves. Let's do it.
Okay, so I did see this video. I guess it was about last week sometime, and I thought it was funny. I didn't think too much of it because I just didn't. But nevertheless, Vivek Ramaswamy got humbled by that of Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter is a commentator. She's a right-wing pundit, has been for a very long time. I would call her probably one of the truest, staunchest Republicans still around, right? Sometimes she says some things that are okay, and then most of the time it's nevertheless, I guess Vivek Ramaswamy was interviewing her. Now, some of you guys are probably like, who is Vivek Ramaswamy and not Vivek Pastrami sandwich? But he was a presidential candidate for this season here. He was running on a Republican ticket. Of course, he only got about 3 delegates, or not. It was the delegates. He had 3 delegates. 3 delegates, and so basically he dropped out in January. I should also say that he's almost a billionaire, worth about $960 million. Sounds like he was a partner, or still is maybe, in a hedge fund company, and also is delves in pharmaceuticals. So he's doing okay. Only 38 years old, right? He's also has some pretty disparaging things to say about Black people, especially in regards to that of reparations. He said, there is no gold medalist in America's Victimhood Olympics. Then he also wrote a book called Nation of Victims. And this is what he said in regards to reparations. He says, I think there was a time and place for reparations back in 1870, right after the Civil War ended. That moment has passed. And now if we keep on looking backwards, I don't think we're going to find a way to move forward as a country. If you think about it, there's going to be all kinds of implementation issues. Who counts as Black? And then he also says, you're going to have a lot of people who claim to be Black who in the strict sense really ought to not have been included in this program, even the kids of immigrants who came over here in the 60s or 70s. But even if you put the implementation issues aside, what does this really do? It creates an incentive structure for people to compete to be a victim. Then he also goes on, this is the last thing he says, what about Japanese Americans whose parents or grandparents were in internment camps, Jewish Americans who have experienced discrimination? We get into this victimhood Olympics, and there's no gold medalists in America's victimhood Olympics. There's only one loser in the end, and that is America, and that's where the discussion takes us. It's looking backward instead of looking forward, which is where we need to go. So he's basically saying, Black Americans, you ain't getting no reparations, right? So I'm going to show y'all the video of him having a conversation with Ann Coulter, and then, because this is what I think y'all really was wanting to talk about. All right, so let me find the video. Of course, it ain't going to pop up there, so give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. I love when I'm not prepared. Well, I thought I was, but you know. Okay, so let's see. Here we go.
You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American Black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that. And it's directly related to what you were just talking about. You know, the thing about nationalism, you're totally right. It is like, to use the word nationalism, oh, it's Hitler, it's Hitler. And, you know, Hitler had soup. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have soup. Hitler loved dogs. That doesn't mean you shouldn't love dogs. So I think we have to move past this. If Hitler did it, it must be bad. There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP. And that doesn't mean we can't take anyone else in, a Sri Lankan or a Japanese or an Indian. But the core around which the nation's values are formed is the WASP. We've never had a president who didn't have at least partial English ancestry.
Okay, so I'm going to remove Ann and Vivek. So she's basically saying to him, from what I ascertained from that clip, is that she was invoking nationalism. I'm assuming she's talking about more so white nationalism, because she talked about WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant is what it is. And that's what I guess what she's trying to say, the values or the crux of the country is WASP. And she also said that there's never been a president that has not been of some sort of, white-ish, if you will, even that of Barack Obama. Mama was white, daddy was Kenyan. So she's basically saying, I wouldn't have voted for you because you're Indian. He stopped laughing and smiling after that point. But yeah, Ann Coulter, who does not bite her tongue, humbled him, and she's pretty straightforward with some of the things that she says. But I say that she humbled him, as of course she says you're Indian. So he is born in Ohio, but his parents are, from India. India. So he's, first generation, if you will. But he runs around speaking that of white supremacist talking points as if he's one right now. Y'all saw Vivek. He's, darker than probably Donovan and I, but for whatever reason, he's got it in his head that he's better and he can run with them. And he's also been supporting Trump at the trial, because, of course, Trump really hasn't said who he's going to select for his vice president. It sounds like we know Trump has clinched the nomination for the most part. So a lot of these people like Vivek are still trying to become the vice president. But yeah, that took a lot of wind out of his sail for somebody like Ann Coulter, who's a juggernaut in the Republican Party, to bring him down several notches. So, Donovan, I'm gonna turn my ear up.
I'm surprised you didn't mention that Vivek could rap. He was one of the first presidential candidates that went on the trail and was like rapping, and it was pretty crappy, but he was out there, trying to take rhyme and all this other stuff. Isn't it funny? No matter what background these people come from, they assume Black culture for their benefit because we're the hottest thing going. They won't do nothing for us, but they love taking from us, and what do? We let them. So anyway, Ann Coulter, who is a good friend of JJ Jimmy Walker, they were not married. They did not date, but I'm sure he hit it a couple of times because he's married now. But staunch female Republican pundit that goes out there and does not bite her tongue in regards to how she feels about, the rhino Republicans and all that other good stuff. Now, what she said, was there some truth to what she was saying? See, and this is the difference when people hear things. You got to listen to what she said. She was absolutely right. This country is so racist, they will not vote for somebody that doesn't have white Anglo-Saxon Protestant in their background. And she was, she was unapologetic and saying, yeah, I liked you as a candidate. I liked your rapping, whatever you were doing, but I would never vote for you. Not in a real context, to do that, to be president. Oh, absolutely not. No, I'm not going to do that. But see, Demetra, these are the conversations we have to have among ourselves. That's why we got to download the African Diaspora News channel so that the revolution won't be televised, where we can actually talk about these issues. Why is it that this woman, white woman, could outright tell this man in his face how she really feels, but when it comes to us, we have to be inclusive and all this other stuff and walk around eggshells to tell people, hey, if you're Asian, I can't support you. You get your own community to support you. Because that's basically what I was getting from her. She's saying, look, I support my community. What the hell is wrong with that? No, only in the Black community can you take a third of the Black or a fourth of the Black community. Oh, well, we're going to vote for this woman because, she's the first woman and she's Jew and she's, what do you call that now? What's the term? It's called the DEIC or something.
DEI, diversity.
Yeah, the DEI stuff. Everybody's trying to hit those boxes like that's going to make you do what it is you're going to do. And I'll give you another example. You got a Black woman who's married to a white man, which I don't have a problem of her being married to a white man. Love who you want to love. She couldn't even define what a woman was. And she's sitting on the Supreme Court. We're the only group that accepts crap like this from our own people. But she said in truth, I would never vote for you because you're not white.
And she was dead serious about it too. That's how you humble a person. And what it also said to him is, oh, you just like Black Americans, huh? Your money don't count. They'll remind you, and you're almost a billionaire. So what? You still can't sit with us? We'll tolerate you is what she's pretty much saying. We'll tolerate you, but we want to try to keep this white because it's becoming less and less that. So that's just Ann Coulter being Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter, I would say, has never changed. I will say, though, when she speaks about civil rights and even reparations, she does say it's not for anybody else but Black Americans. She says the cold part about the civil rights movement is that everybody else has co-opted it when it was supposed to be for Black Americans, but everybody else has benefited from it. So she has been very honest about that assessment. And, I agree with her, but, Ann is going to be Ann, very incendiary, but at least she's honest. She does not bite her tongue.
She's the modern Miss Ann.
Yeah. Okay. JJ says he's not American. He's just a citizen. I know that he was born here in Ohio, so I don't.
Born in Ohio, exactly.
Yeah, so that makes him, an American. But his parents, not so much. Hello, Don. He says, this is how dumb or what raghead is. Every group he named got paid or still getting paid. Right. Absolutely. So he mentioned the Japanese and the Jewish community. They did get reparations from the American government. So you are absolutely right. Hassan,
and the Jews are still getting it. Ever since their inception, they've been getting money. Do you know in Israel, you can go to school for free, college for free?
Oh, yeah.
How do they do that? Because they're getting extra money from the United States.
Mm-hmm. Hassan, how you doing? Says in Islam, we don't believe that a human like me and you is God. Jesus is not God. He is human like me and you. Allah created Prophet Jesus. All right, I can dig it. And let's see here. Gina, you says with Doberman pincher nose and a giraffe neck, y'all. Wow, that's Ant Coulter. Troy says I saw the interview. He looked like a punching bag. All right. So okay, let's see here. I got you, Hassan. Hello, Avenger Ancestor. How you doing? Oh man, Jesus, what's going on with you? Says as long as you keep asking politely, they'll keep laughing in your face. Black reparations are literally a joke amongst whites. They have fun talking about it. Talking won't get you anything. I got you. Hey Frank, how you doing? Says she's racist, but she's honest about certain things. Yeah, you can't really knock her for that. Black America, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. That is what a WASP is. Mansa Musa, how you doing? Let's see here. Judge says she loves Hitler. Why Jews not canceling her? I don't think she was saying that. She was saying, do you cancel the things that he likes? He eats soup. So she's saying you can't eat soup either. So she wasn't necessarily saying she likes him. I don't even know where she was going with that, but she was basically saying we still eat soup even though he ate soup. So you don't cancel out everything about, I guess, something or somebody. Listen, I'm not even trying to explain Ann Coulter. That's kind of what I surmised from what she was saying. So I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Dawes, how you doing? It says white Anglo. Oh, so okay, you were giving him the definition. And Clubber Lane, how you doing? It says the Holocaust was less than 10 years. Jews will be compensated for life. Japanese internment was short term. The natives receive billions every year. Black torture, I think it has been going on forever. Oh yeah, absolutely. And now Frank says the whitey is the first immigrant. Okay, y'all wilding today. Black America says she called him a sand. Yes, I don't know about that. I didn't hear her call him that. Wow, Frankie said you hate him. Okay. Mindful Moments, how you doing? And Valerie, how are you? Says, well, he doesn't like black people, so who really cares what Ann says to him back at him? Yeah, and what's weird is there's a lot of black people who like him, and let's see. I'm gonna skip down just a little bit. Yeah, I guess he was a rapper of some kind. He's only 38. JW, how you doing? I'm glad you made it. Gina says maybe he should go buy a few truckloads of deodorant for the women of his nationality instead of trying to put down black people. Yikes. I saw, oh my God. They don't even have that character on The Simpsons anymore because finally they deemed it to be racist.
They got rid of Apu?
Yeah.
Mr. Homer Simpson, I think that is very wrong. Look
it up. It was like, I think it was during the whole Asian, hate crime bill type of stuff. Yeah, that he ain't on there no more. And I think it was a white guy that was doing the voice.
Frank Azaria. Mm-hmm.
All right. Judge says, how can you love our culture and hate the people who created it? Oh, they do it every day. Mike, thank you. Love and appreciate you for that. He said there needs to be a mass deportation after the 2024 election if Trump gets elected.
Well, there will be.
He said he was. We're going to see. Trump be saying a whole lot of stuff. I think he's doing the kitchen sink method. And by the way, they are going to have 2 debates, one in June. And I don't know when the other one's going to be, but Biden doesn't want a live studio audience or whatever is going to be there. They want to be able to silence the mics because, the last time they debated, Trump verbally ran roughshod all over him where Biden literally had to tell him, oh, shut up.
Well, you know what? With his condition that he is Biden is in right now, you don't have to worry about that because the guy cannot complete a sentence. The guy is in cognitive decline. There's no doubt. I am surprised they even agreed to do debates. I really am.
He really doesn't have a choice. because Biden is kind of like a catch-22, because if he doesn't debate, then people are going to say, what are you afraid of? Obviously, it's going to give more credence to people thinking that something is organically wrong with him because he's older, right? And the other thing too is it's going to work against it, because if he does debate, of course, we've seen him stammer a lot and not seem to be there cognitively. So he's kind of caught, which is why I kind of understand, just from a debate point of view, as to why Biden's team would request, such controlled environment, because of his age, and Trump don't give no dams. Okay. But so he's got to do it. He's got to do it. And I don't know. I don't see that being a win for Biden either way. I don't know.
Well, can I ask you this? And when I heard about the debates today, earlier this morning, when it was announced and stuff, the Democrats didn't even have a primary. So if I was on what they're on, the Democrats are on, why have a debate when this is the nominee? Hardcore Democrats are going to vote for him regardless. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like going to a debate. You didn't even have a primary. So what's the point of debating when you are the Democratic nominee?
Well, obviously he's going to debate Trump. So of course we know without the debate between the both candidates, the Republican and the Democrat, because those are the parties, right? Those debates are to win over the independents, the undecideds, or even people from each camp that may hear something that they didn't hear. They'll hear it in real time. I guess I don't know if it's going to be recorded or not, but they'll hear it in real time, and they might say, "Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that," because we know what happened with Nixon and JFK. And I would think was, when I understand, one of the first televised debates, and when they saw Nixon opposed to that of JFK, they was like, "Oh, he's sexy," but Nixon was talking some real stuff, but JFK won people over on how he looked, that American
presentation,
yeah, all of that.
Style.
So that's why you debate, because you want to try to win over people.
Well, guess what, people? It's going to be Trump in a landslide then, because this debate is, unless they're going to heavily edit it, this debate, there's just no way. This man in a press conference, did you guys see him in a press conference? It was a disaster. He said, Dimitri, and I know we're talking about Vivek, but I want to just emphasize this. He said he takes no responsibility for the economy. He says none, zero.
Right. And OM648 says no black and brown coalition. That is correct. JW says Coulter isn't even WASP. She is a Polish Slavic immigrant background. She makes me ill. White Anglo-Saxon. I don't know if that falls into the realm of that, but then maybe she wasn't speaking of herself. Maybe she was speaking of the way it's been traditionally. I don't know, but she's right though. That it has been run in that way. I mean, I've remember learning about what a WASP was in like elementary. You know what I mean? So she is right about that.
Yeah,
I froze up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marcello Muhammad says, I keep saying that they are giving Gavin Newsom they're getting Gavin Newsom ready for running for president, and his VP will be Michelle Obama. I know a lot of people say it will not be, but believe me, it will. I would agree with you to a point of that, because when we get to the DNC, there is a possibility that they might ask Biden to like step down and put Gavin Newsom in there. Now, Michelle Obama, she's never held political office. I doubt that would be smart to put her in there, because, again, we have a black vice president woman, and it doesn't look good.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I mean, I've heard people talking about it, but I haven't heard and seen anything seriously. Gavin, from what I understand, said no, he's not. Michelle is definitely, she said it not too long ago, I'm not running. Okay. I do not wish to be president. So Joe Biden, he's like, this is mine. Okay. This is my precious.
And if you think about it, what Democrat you could actually put up against Trump? Seriously. I mean, if you really looked at the Democratic Party, they have exasperated all of their young people are just sold out and bought out. Everybody's old. anybody that you would want to replace him with would be in his age group anyway. So the Democrats really don't have a go-to plan other than a name recognition of Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I mean, maybe next time, I don't know, or maybe if, something happens to Biden or something. I think that's why they have also been trying to do such a good job of putting Kamala out there. She's out there speaking and, touring around. And so I think they're really trying to make her look more presidential than vice presidential, because let's keep it a buck. There is a possibility that Joe Biden may not, for whatever, go on to the White House, even if he does go on. So we know the order of things is if something happens to him, well, then then she becomes the president. So, and how you doing, Marcella? Sorry about that. I don't know why I froze up. That was weird. Michael, how you doing? Where you been? He says, Vivek Ramaswamy was rapping because he knew that he could not offer Black people substance. He's against cash payment reparations for FBA ADOS. Okay, yeah, that is definitely true. And welcome back. JJ says, vast majority of Indians have a deep hatred of Black people. Vivek is really nothing new. Oh yeah, that is absolutely true. And guess what? They set up in our neighborhoods too, selling and acting like donkeys up in there. Valerie says, I feel both Biden and Trump need to be in nursing homes and take some of Congress members with them. You ain't lying. Okay, let's see here. And Lily, how you doing? Good evening to you as well. And JW says, Vivek is full of ish. His arguments make no sense, but he is colorblind. Ideology rhetoric is what white supremacists want to hear. Yeah, most of them have to deny that there is a race issue here in America. That's just what they do, right? White supremacist talking points. And Rodney, how you doing? He says, I've got DNC-ites in my family. It says some agree he's Jim Crow Joe, yet the cognitive dissonance has them blue no matter who. And that's a lot of people, unfortunately. And Senora, how you doing? It says someone needs to tell Koreans, Japanese, and all other Asians that they are brown as well. Yeah, I agree, even though they say they're more like yellow, right? Okay. United States American president, he says that the truth, Joe Biden gets a second term and only does one, then Kamala Harris does the other 3 years, which is a waste of the vote in the presidential election. Okay, so you think that's what's going to happen? Okay, got you. All right, let me skip down so I could catch up. Big Baz Life, how you doing? It says we don't have a black woman vice president. She is other corrected. Well, she wasn't that until she started running for president, because from being from California, we know that Kamala was the first Asian American senator or whatever it is that she accomplished. So she started to talk about being black when it was convenient. So y'all believe what y'all want about that woman. DSB, how you doing? Dorothy says, I would not vote for Michelle Obama. I still have issues with her pushing healthy food while my people were in Michigan drinking contaminated water. Yeah, she had that Let's Move campaign. Most first ladies have a campaign that they are adamant about. It's just what they do, right? Nancy Reagan, I think, was Say No to Drugs. That was hers. And
Melania, be best.
Be best. Yeah. So that was just hers. They almost kind of like have to have something that they're passionate about. And they spend the time that they're in office as the, first lady going forward with that. But yeah, I agree. That is a huge oxymoron.
Yeah. Did you remember when Melania went up the stairs when the thing was going on? And was it Puerto Rico? She had that I don't care on the back of her shirt or something like that. It was really, these people they're just demons. They're demons.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Clubber Lane says they shot Slovakian prime minister today in a country with less guns in America. I see something wild happening before election day. Yeah, I heard about that. And they said that they apprehended the person who did it. Let's see. Rodney says Kamala is a transformer. She changes to whatever she needs to be. Absolutely. Okay, so let me go down so I can catch up. Lady Diana, how you doing? Says I will not vote for Michelle Obama. I don't have a good reason why I should. And I hope, where'd it go? Oh, it jumped up 1 second. I'm sorry. Does that sometimes. Okay, so then I hope Kamala will never become president, or Lord help us. Yeah. She's pretty special and not in a good way. Hello, your average logical thinker. I hope you're doing well. Says, so glad you're covering this. Vivek got a ninja wake-up call. Yes, he did. I bet he was not expecting that. Soto, how you doing? Says, if Gavin Newsom runs, I'm reminding all black people that reparation trick he played on us in Cali. Hey, y'all. Yeah, he did. Had this commission and everything. Had people thinking that, it's possible. Then I think he got on Fox News and says, well, that doesn't necessarily mean cash payments. But then when people called him on, he says, well, I didn't say it was off the table either, but really haven't heard much about it. They're proposing this stuff ain't nobody really asking for,
And I just want to clarify, everybody, reparations could only be cash payments. The programs don't work. They don't do that for anybody else except when it comes to black people. If you got the money, you could get a higher education. You can open a business. You can make your own decisions. They didn't give a program to the Japanese. They don't give program to the Jews. They don't give program to the Asians and the thing. They give them the money. So let's not fall for that. So when you got your loved ones that are talking about, oh yeah, they're going to give us a housing program. They're going to give us this program. No, you tell them, explain it to them. No, give them the cash. Are a lot of black people going to trick that money off? Yes. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing with my money. I'm going to have the biggest stripper party there ever was. But that's what I'm going to do with my money.
Let me call my homegirls. So go get some of that money.
That's right. Harriet Tubman, Gloda Dean, all of them.
Hey, you turn the lights off, it's all the same. Michael says, I like Ann Coulter because she's a straight shooter and does not sugarcoat her message. Most Asians are brainwashed by them folks. Yeah, well, you would know it. Those are your folks. Marcella says they need to have age limits on political people. No one over 65 age should be able to run. They can be a consultant. I actually like that idea. And that's not feelings.
Or a chairman, an elder statesman. They used to have that. And they're actually talking about that now, seeing all of these candidates that are career politicians. They are actually looking at the problem of these people staying way past. Mitch McConnell. Look at all of the leadership in the United States. Every one of them is 77 plus.
Yeah. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? It says it's not black people's job to tell other brown anti-black people that white supremacy don't like them. Let them find out on their own. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. JW says, what? Please stop saying Kamala is black. I am so surprised so many people still keep drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, she says she black. I'm just not one to argue with people to tell them what they are and they are not. We just know that before she was running for president, she wasn't talking about her being black as much as she is now. So, we know how to get down. It's to cater to the black people. And guess what? It worked. It worked. When Joe Biden selected her as a vice president, it worked. So,
I mean, remember the imagery she used. I was that girl. Dealing with the Brown Board of Education, the girl that broke the Brown Board of Education thing. She used the exact same shadows and everything. Like I said, everybody they love to take our culture, but they don't want any of our struggle.
Yeah, Frankie's saying, but Ronald Reagan was bringing the drugs in, so they say. They're saying there's no real hard proof. But what was going on in what was it, Nicaragua and Contra Iran,
Contra,
all of that, one would speculate that's how it got over here, right? Because it's almost kind of like one could say it was a coincidence, but it's like, okay, Ronald Reagan gets in, and you have that going on, and then you have this bam influx, and of course they were saying that it's possible that it came over, through Miami, and then the rest is history, but. Then his wife has the audacity to have the Say No to Drugs campaign. So you need to tell that to your man.
Right. Well, actually, if you really think about it, Ronald Reagan wasn't in his right mind. It was George Bush, who was a member of the CIA and a CIA director. If you go back, George Bush goes back to the Kennedy assassination. So long ties in the CIA connection. And remember when Reagan and Bush were debating each other, it is so weird how he picks Bush to be his running mate. And then when Nixon was going through the problems of Watergate, who did he have in China as his representative that he brought after the plumbers were caught and everything? George Bush. Deep stuff, you guys.
Yep, follow the breadcrumbs. Hey, Doe, how you doing? Hope you are doing well. Yes, everybody's agreeing cash money, dollar bill, y'all. All right, and Rodney say Vivek needs to see why Dravidians are so dark. Says hint enslaved Africans brought to this Indus Kush East Indians. Okay, maybe he knows, right? Fowler says none of these Democrat governors have shown they are not for Black Americans. So you're saying they have or they haven't? All right, so let's see. Arniba says, you have homegirls and the DR, Demetra? I surely do. I got a delegation. Got a delegation of homegirls. Every time Donovan goes down there, I get them in orders. Like, all right, like on the Players Club, when it was like the green light was flashing, it was like money in the building. That's what I do. And I know Donovan is going, I call him and we have a little Zoom meeting. Okay, ladies, I need y'all to dig deep in his pockets, okay? You got this. And if you see him having some fun, call me. And we're going to activate plan. Shut that down. Okay. I think it worked. Marcelo said today, also you had some grilled burgers, and this is what's in the burgers: portobello mushrooms, my special barbecue sauce I make special veggie mix. The bread will be lettuce, tomato, and cheese. Why don't you send me a plate? And your average logical thinker says, I'm all of a sudden the stripper now. Where them dollars at? Right. DSB says, been under the weather, Donovan, my word brother, but I'm back now and family ready to fight for us. Okay. Facts Not Feeling says, I know the Asians in USA are not brainwashed by them folks. They make a choice to do what will make them in good graces with them. I totally agree with you. It's brown nosing, for lack of better words. Michael says, Japanese people receive reparations after a 10-year study. Yes, indeed. They received the reparations because they were in those internment camps during World War II when they bombed Pearl Harbor. Most, if not all, of the Japanese Americans were rounded up into concentration camps for some time. And then once they got out, by that time, they had lost a lot of stuff, houses, and, really had to start over. I think they got a couple of bucks, whatever that was back then. But then, like you said, Michael, after a study, they did get some money. But even with that, it's horrible what happened to them. Nothing will compare to what happened to our ancestors and still going on with us. But yeah, everybody's gotten their check, but us. So let's see here. How you doing? I hope you are doing well this day. All right, so let's see here. I think I'm making my way to the bottom. Not Mike Nice. Buckhorse, how you doing? But Mike Nice, how you doing too as well? Okay. More threads. How you doing? Says, hey, Demetra Donovan. I have finally been able to catch a live again. Yes, indeed, and welcome back. Frank says, how's her family rich in India but poor in America? So you talking about Kamala? Is that who you talking about? Okay. Ronnie says, then bushwhackers have been involved in U.S. politics for 60 years. JJE says Kamala only shows up in the Black community playing sexy red and wiggling to get votes. Hey, what did Hillary say? Well, it's working. When they asked her, she had hot sauce in the bag, and she says, yeah. And then Charlamagne says, it's pandering, right? They're gonna say you're pandering. She goes, well, it's working. Michael says, Demetra and Donovan, were both of you surprised that George H.W. Bush broke his 1988 campaign promise to not raise taxes in 1990? I wasn't, I'll be honest with you, 1990, I was 19. So, I was 19. Wasn't terribly involved in politics like that, but no, I was not surprised at all. I mean, I know something about it. Of course, Reagan, wasn't he the one that says, because he did a lot of spending cuts that, unfortunately, and they knew, hurt Black communities. But then he had this trickle down theory. Well, what we do for the wealthy is going to trickle down. Of course, we're still waiting for a raindrop from that. Hey, Beverly, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Alonzo, how you doing? He says, hey, Dan Donovan and the family, I agree with them term limits for sure. I also think the entire political body shouldn't be able to accept funds from corporations yet. And that's what I liked about, his name just skipped my mind. Andrew Yang. He wanted to give democracy dollars, I think is what it was. and every American gets a certain amount of democracy dollars, and they can give it to whatever campaign, political candidate that they thought was best, edging out lobbyists and other special interest groups and PACs, right? Because they do influence elections. And so I thought that was a very ingenious idea. Give it to the people, and they can, pay for or donate to whatever campaign they wanted. But I agree with you. Dorothy says, those people are very hateful toward us, always have been. They are even worse in their native lands. Yeah, they really don't like us much. Okay. Yes, indeed. Avenge the ancestors, like when I say that. And oops, where'd it go? This thing likes to jump up. It wasn't doing that before. And Monique, how you doing? It says, where is she reading these messages? Oh, okay. So she's on Facebook, and the rest of the messages are on YouTube. So that's where I'm seeing the most of the messages on YouTube. La Senora, you say 2 wrongs don't make a white. You crazy. 2. Oh, wait, hold on. I read it wrong. She says 2 wrongs don't make a white. Remember that, Asian folks. Wow. You know what? I'm gonna keep reading. Valerie says Democratic governors have not shown they like Black Americans. Nah, I mean, look at how the Black neighborhoods run in their states, or how adverse they are to Black people. Was it New York Governor Kathy Hochul got up there talking about Black kids don't even know what the word computer is? Now that was just a racist Freudian slip,
The crazy thing is, these are the children of the liberals of the 1960s. How did they get so damn racist? You want to know why? They went to grandma and grandpa's house that put that in their heads.
Yep. Barricade, how you doing? Y'all got all kind of names for Vivek. DSB says it's couch 2024 for me until they cut the check for my people. Damn, both parties dug in on that couch. Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people off the couch to go and vote for more of nothing, but they haven't given anybody a good reason, especially Black people, to get off the couch, other than Trump. We don't want Trump back in the office. Is like, okay, nobody's scared anymore. It's like, somebody hops out of a bush on you every day. They hop out of the bush. The first 4 or 5 times, you'll probably be scared. But after that, you're going to anticipate somebody's going to jump out the bush. And then you're not going to be scared anymore. It's like, what's new? So,
Demetra, let me ask you this. Have you seen and heard the major news networks, CNN and MSNBC now, conceding the fact that Joe Biden is in trouble? He is down in all of the polls?
I haven't seen that, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, look at all that's going on, especially in Rafah, where Joe Biden has given, the Israelis, from what I understand, sent them more weapons and money and, to finish doing what they're doing. So just a lot of people just aren't happy with that. And a whole host of other things, the economy, the student loans, just there's a lot going on where people are just like, you are probably, and they've been kind of said, the worst president in history.
Right. And then, I'm sorry to cut you off. And then also these celebrities, I guess it was reported this afternoon that, what's that Hispanic lady? She was on the Housewife, Ava Longoria. She was supposed to show up to a rally in Arizona, and she was a no-show. So even a lot of these celebrities now are not showing up. And I guess it's basically the mere fact that people are waking up saying a celebrity doesn't sway me anymore to the situation that we're in. So even the celebrities now are like, we're done.
How you doing? Well, I think there's a little backstory to that as well. There's this movement going on social media that's basically saying unfollow celebrities. And a lot of it has to do with people, them not speaking out about what's going on. So she might have pulled out of that rally because of that. People are going to hold their feet to the fire. Like, how can you stand with a man who is, funding, from what they're saying, genocide? So that's probably why she did it, because there is this, and it sounds like it's gaining a lot of traction where people are just unfollowing celebrities. So that might have a lot more to do with it. And Frank says Al Sharpton was sticking up for her, shaking my head. Yeah, Al Sharpton, he's completely bought in, you know. Miss Sweet, she says black children don't know what a computer is. Oh wow, yeah, she said it with her whole chest. Arneva said trickle down economics is the reason wages are stagnant and the reason it takes 2 incomes for the average family to maintain a household. Yep. The average logical thinker says, I said I never had the desire to go to India, love their food though. Yeah, me either. Sherry, how you doing? Says Black First Family. I am glad Vivek got his wake-up call. I just do not understand why so many melanated people just don't get it. Peace and blessings. Well, you know, it's that maybe one day they'll like me. You know, and Sparkling for Jesus, how you doing? All right.
Yeah, we tried that, and it's been, what, 300, 400 years, and they're still not liking us. So we got to accept the fact that they just won't like us.
Yes. Curtis, how you doing? Long time no see. William, what's going on with you? Protect black children. How are you? Says not a fan of Biden, but he doesn't hold enslaved Africans. So stop the cap. I'm not sure what that means. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. An odd Negro says, just give us 100,000 a month for the rest of our lives. Sugar, tobacco, rice. I can dig it. And Go Fies, how you doing? And Dorothy says, I don't like their food. I like their food. It's pretty good. Buckhorse says, Miss K, I'm lifting something and the crap. Oh, you was lifting something and it fell on your jaw? Was it weight? Are you okay? That sounds pretty painful. All right, so let's see. Ronnie says, Sharpton's spirit is fried as his, you know what? As his hair. Okay. And JJ says artificial intelligence will be next president. You may be on to something. The average logical thinker says, I think celebrities are just as tired of the political and economic state of this country and opting out of speaking out, or they aren't offering them enough money. Yeah, they don't want to be canceled because they know who really writing their checks. Okay, so they don't want to be canceled. But you're seeing some people out there saying stuff, and it's like, now you ain't said as much as 2 words up until now, you know, but I get it. They know who butters their bread, so they're gonna say what they're told to say. Because y'all remember when it first happened, all the celebrities that were saying something like Usher, he did a whole "I stand with Israel" type of thing, and then he took it down when people were like, "What?" Because he probably didn't even really know what he was doing. One of his people probably did. You crazy, Miss Sweet, talking about Al Sharpton is still alive. Yes. Mindful Moment says everybody will hate us if we get reparations. We are targets now. Imagine when we have money. Well, you know, we can buy a whole lot of protection.
You know, but the funny thing about that, it's a double-edged sword. Knowing that at least 90% of us are going to trick that money off, maybe less. I'm just saying 90 because we give all that money away every year anyway. That would stimulate the economy. It ain't like that money's going to go overseas somewhere. That money's going to be, majority of that money is going to be spent right here in the United States. And those of us that are smart, we're going to open up businesses to get some of that money from some of our neighbors that just want to just shop and throw their money away. Yes. Some people going to be back in the streets in no time. Yes. But again, it was a nice ride.
Monique, good night to you as well. Thank you for stopping by. Hello, Easy. I hope you are doing well. Okay. Okay, Buckhorse. So I'm glad that you're doing well because that really does sound painful. William, you say what people are really tired of is the small hats, and also Article 6 is being invoked against the United States. U.S. Army get kicked out of the UN. Okay.
No, the U.S. may get kicked out of the UN.
Oh, got you. What I say, Army?
I know you probably had a flashback to your good old days. Yeah,
I did. All right, so let's see. JW says black folks got to stop putting money in their coffers, stop dining at the restaurants, shopping in their dollar stores just out of principle. I don't shop with them. I totally agree with you. Negro says, okay, $1 million up front and then 100,000 a year for the rest of our lives. Okay. And Igioma, I hope I said that right, says, I love black girls. All right. Go Pfizer said Diddy is still free. Well, yeah, he's going to be free until they really, find something to charge him with. But yeah. Rodney says Usher still coming down off that Diddy high. Oh my God. Lord. Okay, let's see who else. Tyson, he says Trump promises mass deportations. Yes, so he says, and then Gioma, he says I date them to treat them right. I hope so. Hey, Corliss, how you doing? Says Harry Weaves, and we look at EDD. What? Avenge the ancestors. Thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you. Says I appreciate all you and Dimitri. Glad to see you back, brother Don and Black first to the room. Yes, indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you once again. Okay, and then Vihar, how you doing? Says Swarme, Indian, dark skin, colored import got handed his "You American" card. I say the least. I'm looking at some of these comments. William says Trump did say he would end birthright citizenship. We as a community can do that too. Yeah, he did say that. All right, so let's see here. That's right. The Black women are queens. Yes. Marcelo says, Donovan, what do you think about the BRICS coming on with their money? These countries are this only the dollar?
Oh, I think the question is how a lot of these countries are leaving the dollar. Well, eventually, so many countries are going to leave the dollar that we're going to end up invading them and making them get back on the dollar because we are so dependent on these countries and the banks, the world banks, getting the interest off of these countries to do that. So if so many, whatever the calculation is, so many countries get off the dollar, it's going to trigger, in my opinion, a world operation in taking over their country.
All right, King Buck, wow, how you doing? All right, y'all ready to switch over to our other topic? Okay, and thank you, Corey. I love and appreciate you for that. All right, so let's see here. We're gonna go to our other topic. I saw this. Maybe you guys saw it too. Think it's very interesting, and I know this is going to be an interesting conversation. I feel like it will be. So let's see here. So I'll let him explain to y'all what happened, and then we're gonna ask the question: was he right or was he wrong? Okay, or anything in between. So here we go.
To the 7-year-old girl who had to watch me and my brothers jump her daddy after school, I'm sorry. I know that was probably a traumatizing experience for you. But we kept asking you to stop bullying my daughter and you wouldn't listen. We sent letters home. We even had a meeting with you and your parents and you wouldn't listen. So now you know your actions have consequences. And since you're too young to receive those consequences, you had to watch your daddy take those consequences. Get some therapy. You'll be all right.
Did y'all get that? So basically, what he said was, and I'm going to take him down. Self-righteous is what he goes by on TikTok, okay? So basically what it said was his daughter was being bullied. They had a copious amount of conversations, you know, with the dad. I guess they had to talk with the school, and the other guy's daughter was still bullying his daughter. Maybe she was beating her up, I guess. So he's saying, I guess him and his brother went and saw her dad, and you know they rearranged his understanding, for a lack of better words. And so he says, "Yo, consequences cause your daddy to get some consequences." So there's a debate online whether he was right or he was wrong, justified, unjustified, for doing what he did. Sounds like the girls are 7. Okay, so I guess that also happened in front of his daughter, that he got mollywopped. Donovan?
My opinion is this. I come from the old school, right? And yes, I understand there does come a time when the parents need to step in, whatever. But back in our day, Demetra, we would fight, right? You just fight and fight it out and fight it out and fight it out, whatever. You know, once you usually have 1 or 2 fights, it's usually over. You know, I know there does come a time where the parents will need to step in. But the problem I think that's happening today is these young parents are stepping in too early because the kids have to be socialized to figure it out like we did. You know, and this is just me. I know a lot of people are going to disagree, whatever the deal is, but this is why we have such a damn sensitive community and country now. Everybody's afraid to take an ass whipping. Sometimes you got to take an ass whipping. When I was in high school, and I was the karate black guy, whatever. Hey, I'm gonna tell you guys, I lost a majority of the fights I got in. Okay, and it wasn't because somebody was picking on me. It was because I was like fucking with them. Excuse me, language. I was messing with them, and I got mollywopped in the situation. But the point is, in my fighting these people, I gave them all they can handle. Even though I lost, it was over. The problem is we are giving these young kids a false narrative of I could do whatever I want and there are no consequences. Sometimes you got to let your kids take an ass whipping. Dimitri, and back in the day when you were at the playground and you ran from a fight, your parents or uncle would tell you, you go back down there again until you win. And sometimes you're not always going to win. And that's a life lesson. And again, I do understand there does come a time when you're fighting every day and all that, the excessive stuff. Yeah, that's when the parents need to step in. And I think in this situation, from what I heard, the guy tried to, talk to the guy, whatever, and that's all good and great. But I see too many kids quick to pick up a gun and, try to handle the situation rather than taking an ass whipping. That's just me.
Yeah, sounds like the girls were 7. So Easy says, I think he was justified. He gave them fair warning. He reached out. He went to the school. He talked to the parents and nothing changed. So I agree with it. And I co-sign that. I am one of those parents. I have gone to the school when a bully was messing with my daughter, and everything that he said, I did that. And then some. I was very demonstrative about that particular child not putting her hands on my daughter. My daughter does not come to school to fight, have to defend herself, rolling around or whatever it is. She's a young lady. She comes to school to get an education. Now, this was in elementary school. So I tell y'all the story all the time. She got in my car. I could tell something was wrong. Asked her, she says, the same old bully who happened to be standing on the, waiting for her mama or daddy to pick her up, kicked her. So got out the car. I said, get out the car. Took my daughter over to the girl. Asked the girl, I said, did you put your hands on my daughter? She said, no. Another little boy behind her said, yes, she did. I saw her kick her. So I told my daughter, I said, the next time she puts her hands on you, you have my permission to knock her head off. Did they call the police on me after she went and complained? Yes, they did. But I stood 10 toes down. They didn't call the police when I was telling them she was messing with my daughter. But when I put my foot down, now all of a sudden y'all here. Glad I got your attention. So I 100% agree with it. We do not send our children, especially our daughters, to school to be fighting. And it's not our fault that other people raise their children like demons and then make everybody else put up with it. So like he said, little girl, you've been told to keep your hands off my daughter. Your parents have been told and you did not acquiesce. So your daddy had to catch one. And he had to catch a bad one for what it sound like. That's all I'm going to say about that. But let me keep reading. Okay. Anyone who cares how you doing? Let's see here. DSB says he's wrong. I will never hurt my brothers or my sister. Just teach your child to be a bully. Not to be a bully. We have to handle things better. I agree with you, Donovan. Yeah, he don't sound like he was interested in teaching his daughter not to be a bully. So, he gonna probably teach her this time. Don says the sins of the children are be visited upon the father. That's a reverse. Yeah. Lane, how you doing? Says her dad should have taught her better. Yeah. The one that got his hat, if you will, handed to him. I agree. He should have taught her better. Negro says Indian like Tamales are persecuted. Tamales are persecuted just like us. Okay. JD says, I remember there was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode about this. Okay. And Tammy, how you doing? It says, preach, Donovan. Mindful moments. She says, I agree. The parents are the problem. How they're raising their kids are the problem. Different times. Yes. And Barricade said he was right. Judge says, my mama would send me back out to fight until I won or don't come home. And Ryder says, in this generation, grandma is 30. It's a different world, you wildin'. M says, I agree. We're usually friends again before the street lights came on. Let's see. JD says, too many parents are just not fit to parent. That I totally agree with. Buck Horse says, dinner, yummy, y'all. Beef and veggies. Okay, send me a plate. Willie, how you doing? Says, and he didn't go by himself. If he was so bad, he would have went alone. Well, I mean, I guess I get that. But the other thing is, too, Don't tell me how to rearrange your understanding, especially when I've been telling you to tell your daughter to keep her hands off my daughter. See, because I didn't get a say so in how your daughter was bullying my daughter, so that you don't get a say so. See, I'm also from the old school, okay? I also had a parent that if I find out you watch your brother and sister get their butt whooped and you didn't help, you all getting your butt whooped, right? So I had that kind of upbringing too, but also I had the upbringing that, yeah, we're not going to just be sitting around here like victims and letting people, because why would I send my daughter to school to fight? Well, you'll get her next time. Nah, I'm raising a young lady. I'm not raising no brute. Be having to be rolling around fighting people because somebody else's demon spawn ain't got no home training. I don't think so.
See, okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Demetra, what you guys don't understand is Demetra went to a school that was just like Cooley High. Okay, she was that girl at the party. No, I'm not supposed to go ahead.
No, I didn't get in very many fights, but the fights that I did get in, I never had to fight again. Put it that way, okay?
Right. And see, and that was my point. Back in our day, you don't necessarily have to win a fight. Like I said, I lost, and you can even ask my brother. He would sit there and watch me get beat down. He was just there to make sure nobody else jumped in. You give that person all they can handle, and the fight is over. That's it. And there's that mutual respect. And so even though I was a small guy, people knew, oh yeah, I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it. And they just didn't mess with me. They're like, okay, leave him alone. He's good.
I get that. One fight, okay, we won and done, but you keep messing with me. You keep messing with my child again. Because with bullying comes a lot of other stuff. The physical part, yeah, you get over that, but it's the mental stuff. It's the emotional stuff. I always having somebody messing with you. So I'm one of those, I just don't care. I was protecting mine at all costs. And my nieces and nephews know even to this day. I have a niece, she's 17 when she was just starting junior high. So it was somebody that was messing with her, and she told her mama, don't tell Tia. Don't tell Tia, because I'm on the next thing smoking.
Yeah. Demetra, did you ever get your record expunged from that experience?
Luckily, it didn't go on my record, but guess what? I'd have called a case over mine. That's just how I rock and roll. I'm sorry.
Right. I remember you picking up trash and stuff during that time. I saw you on the side of the highway.
I wasn't. Nah, he knew. It was a black officer too, and he already knew. So anyway, Dorothy said the father did the right thing. All right, Clever says when the kids are in school, most of them won't listen. The father probably warned his child, and the child didn't listen. He's lucky that father wasn't packing. Yeah, which is probably why he took his brother over there. Yeah, that is dangerous to go over somebody else's house. But you know what? I get it. I get the frustration of, because when I got out of the car, it wasn't because it happened once. It was I talked to everybody, the teacher, the principal, copious amount of times. And this kid was a lot bigger than my daughter. And I didn't want my daughter to be having to go through a life of fighting. So I was like, okay, maybe if I say something to her directly. But guess what? She never did, though. She never put her hands on my daughter again. And that's all I cared about. So M says, I didn't have that kind of moms, but when we have fights, mama said, if you get beat up, I'm going to beat you up again. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, and I understand. I've heard of that upbringing. I think that's also abusive when you could just know, and I'm not talking about your mama, because I sometimes get spicy when it comes to the kids. I think it's horrible that parents don't do what they need to do to make sure that the children are protected. I think that's very abusive to tell your child to go and rumble in the jungle some more with an animal that you ain't trying to be doing all that with, opposed to mama, a daddy, putting their coat on, getting their purse, Watusiing themselves to the school and say, hey, I mean what I say. When my daughter was in elementary, so junior high, same thing. 2 little black girls was messing with her. So I went down to the principal. I said, did I have to come out here on my day off? I said, I want you to call both of their parents so we can all sit in this office, since I got to come in here and waste my time to talk about two girls that are bullying my daughter. And he says, can I talk to them first? He did. And he called me. He says, do you know that they told me that they didn't have a reason why they were messing with her? And he says, trust me, I'm going to handle it. But nevertheless, they didn't mess with my daughter anymore, because I was dead serious. Like, no, I need you to get all the parents together so we can come to an understanding of what might be happening next for them messing with my daughter. See, I like I said, I wasn't, and I still ain't no punk when it comes to the kids. I don't care what it is. So
yeah, and I will say this: there is something to be said when girls are fighting and stuff. That's very unladylike and stuff. And remember back in World Star, and it's so sad now when you do see girls fighting, even women fighting, men are just videotaping it. They're not even breaking it up because nobody wants to see that. And it's sad that we got through that. But speaking as a man, oh no, we have no. Men, you got to go handle it. If you have to go off the school campus to that little location everybody goes to get your squab on, you go and do it. See, and that's just things that men do. It's just an undeclared thing of manhood. Now, I know ladies say, well, that's stupid manhood. Of course, as a woman, you would say that. But most men, we aren't going to say that because, like I said, if I'm going to punk you now, it's a principle for men that is a life application. It's like even if I go to my auto mechanic and he's trying to upcharge me, it's the same principle. I'm going to stand up for mine because I know I'm in the right or whatever, and I'm going to make sure I get the right situation. So ladies fighting and girls fighting, that isn't a good look. We know it does happen. Again, for the boys, it's a little different type thing. It's a different thing. So I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, some of y'all taking exception to he took his brother over there. I mean, I guess, but like I said, I didn't get a choice in the matter of how your daughter was bullying my daughter. So you don't get a choice in the matter of how you gonna get this butt whooping. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And even with boys, yeah, I guess boys should know how to defend themselves. I agree with that. But I don't think boys should have to go to school and fend off a bully. Because as someone said, there's a lot of people who take themselves out of here because they just feel like they have no recourse. Nobody's going to help me. I'm going to school, I'm getting jumped on, I'm getting beat up. And then my parent, who is, from the Stone Age, is telling me to go and continue to fight. Don't come home, I'm going to whoop your butt instead of just going to handle it. That's abusive. To have your child go and repeatedly be bullied and beat up instead of you just putting an end to it, right? Because nobody should have to go anywhere. You should learn how to defend yourself. I agree. But if it's constant bullying, that's a different story. And I just think you're a piss poor ass parent. And I mean that with my whole chest. If you send your children to school to fight continuously a bully when you could just nip it in the bud, like maybe not as austere as that guy did, but try your best. And if it comes to that, it comes to that. So I sound like my daddy now because my dad was no nonsense when it came to us. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Dorothy says, I bet that father will discipline his daughter in the future or get messed up again. I'm just saying. Facts Not Feelings says, you guys know some kids have emotional problems and you can't blame that on the parents. So what? So my child got to go to school and deal with your child having emotional issues? Nah, no. That ain't my problem because then we're going to deal with my child's emotional problems after they have to deal with your child's emotional problems all day at school because they haven't been to therapy or counseling, whatever they need. See, I'm not going to take on the brunt of somebody else's issues and say my child, well, you're just going to be a pin cushion and a punching bag because that child has problems. As my daddy say, your problems ain't my problems. I'm just going to put it out there.
Well, I can say for myself, my ex called me one time and my son was fighting at the school. And she called me and I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, he's fighting and this is that. Is he winning? Well, that's not the point. Is he winning? Well, yes. Hang up, click. That's it. That's all part of growing up and manhood, being a man and a young man and learning to figure it out. I would prefer a young man to use his mind to figure it out. But sometimes, ladies, and I know you guys don't understand this because you're not men. That's why men have testosterone. When those levels get high, the thought pattern goes out. And sometimes it does come to fisticuffs. I'm not saying it's right. It is preferably to use your brain and kind of get out of the situation. But there does come a time where you are going to have to fight and figure it out. And sometimes that's all it takes to end the situation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there comes a time. But what I'm never going to do is have my child, man, a boy or girl out there fighting when they should be in school getting an education. And trust me, my daddy is well-versed in martial arts and karate and some other stuff, right? But I know that he would not advocate sending his children to school to continuously being bullied without taking himself down there to handle the situation himself. That I can speak of. And trust me, my dad is a man of all men. Thunder says, question, what do you think about putting the children in martial arts, karate for the boys and kung fu the girls? Yeah, I agree. I think people should learn how to defend themselves. I took a self-defense class when I was in junior high, and I still know some of those moves. In fact, it was one of my favorite classes. But yeah, I think people should learn how to defend themselves. Because if somebody want to come put their hands on you, you need to know how to neutralize them to however you're going to do that, right? So yeah, I totally agree with that.
And I'm going to tell you guys this. If you're going to think about putting somebody in martial arts, please research it, because I used to be in tournaments, and my master is recognized by the country of Japan. And it's very defensive. It's on Okinawa, which where karate was started. You've got these martial art things. They look good, high kicks and stuff like that, but it's basically useless. I used to go to tournaments and in 4 or 5 moves, put people down. I mean, that's how, I'm not saying American martial arts is BS, but American martial arts is BS. Trust me.
Well, whatever it is, Kay.
No, all I'm saying is research, because there are some that are just stylish.
Whatever it is, it's somebody that don't know karate, kareza, or none of that, but they'll clean your clock nevertheless, okay? But as I said, ain't nobody gonna be putting their hands on my child, nothing at all, period. Like I said, I don't believe in sending kids into the lion's den, whether they know how to fight or not. To have to continue to fight and defend themselves all day long is just stupid. Just discipline your children and teach them to be respectful of other people. Otherwise, you'll have somebody daddy. I saw a video of a sister. Her daughter was being bullied at the school, and she walked up into the classroom and said, I don't know who's bullying my daughter. She says, but tell your mamas and your aunties that I'm coming to see them if y'all keep putting your hands on my daughter. And she says, and if y'all not in this class, I'll go to every other class she got, and I'm going to say the same message. I will see your mamas and your aunties. And she says, I will F them up. And the teacher sat there and didn't say nothing. I said, now that's a woman after my own heart, because by any means necessary, you're not going to be putting your hands on my child.
See, and that's a response from most women. And I'm not saying it's a bad response. Most fathers will not do that. So
my father would. And I'm going to tell you, as a matter of fact, my father has. Okay. And like I said, my daddy is a man of all men. So I think we're getting it messed up, because on one hand, y'all try to say that the father and the mother as the child is equally and stuff like that, but then you assigning roles to how a parent cares about a child. I don't think it has anything to do with gender. I think it has to do with defending your child. And I'm tell you right now, I know somebody who got a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against a very big school district behind their child being bullied. And I'll tell you right now, they did not take no mess. They did not follow that advice of, well, you go and just be a boy or whatever the case is, because that particular child ended up in therapy behind being bullied. So that to me is antiquated advice of trying to separate the genders, because I think most parents care about their children equally, whether you're a boy or you're a girl, your father or your mother, and you would not want your child enduring hell when they don't have to. So it has nothing to do with you telling your.
I respect your opinion. I respect your opinion.
But yeah, but so it's not. It has nothing to do with whether they tough or not or this, that, and the other. Just like I have a little brother, younger brother, and when he had his son, he's a bigger kid. He says, and people say, oh, he's going to play football. He says, no, I'm raising him to be a senator. Now, if you want to do all that, great, but I'm not raising him to be a brute. I'm raising him to use his mind. He said the only way to stand up to a bully is to fight a bully.
Yeah,
and
I respect your opinion, but again, my opinion is my opinion, and I'm going to tell you this: I don't know anybody, unless you're in a situation where you're sending this kid to a school that is known to have been degraded, and that's all there is to do, when you're going to have to go into gladiator school, because those schools do exist. They do exist. But a lot of responsible parents look for schools where things like that don't happen on a daily basis, and things like that. So the context of what we're saying is, like I said, the friends that I hang out with, I don't know any of them that send their kids to the Carter High School, and they're just locked in. The kids are just fending for themselves. So yeah.
Mindful moment, she said, saying to me, I don't even have kids, but I don't play about them. I don't either. Like I said, I told y'all yesterday, and I mean that, I am not no punk when it comes to a lot of stuff, especially kids. Even if they not my kids, like I said, I saw a lady abusing her child up in the store, and I was like, run up. Don't you ever put your hands on that child like that again. And she was shocked. Everybody was shocked that I said something. I said, I don't care. When it comes to kids being hit and stuff, I'm going to say something. I'm not going to turn a blind eye and talk about that ain't my problem. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just how I am. Lane says, if your kid's going to be a bully, you better be a boxer. You know what I'm saying? Somebody need to put that on a shirt. JW says, what is problematic was that you would report the problem to a teacher, authorities, and they wouldn't intervene. Yeah, so what you supposed to keep having your kid getting their butt whooped? I don't think so. Barricade sometimes bullying can be deadly, but people don't want to think about that. They keep sending their child into the lions. Then go fight them. Go make sure. And it's all right to not want to do that. So you raise a child that's being bullied, they're being bullied. Then you tell them that they're not adequate enough if they don't go fight the bully. Like, what if I don't want to do that? William says, ever notice that the parents of the bully never complain until their bully child gets an whipping? They be like, as long as my child is doing the bullying, it's okay. Or yeah, they'll tell you, oh, that's just kids being kids. Like, oh, really? Okay. Alonzo says the sad
Wasn't
thing
there
is
an episode of the Brady Bunch where Cindy was being bullied and her brother came to defend him and stuff like that, and at the end they knocked the guy's tooth out?
Yeah, I remember that one. And Alonzo says the sad thing is if you follow stupid children home, usually you'll find stupid parents. Yeah, they justify that until somebody knock at they door. That's not feeling says it's the school's responsibility to make sure the kids are not harming others while the children are at school. If the child can behave, the school must remove that child. I think men, if they can't, but you got to remember too, especially in this day and age, teachers have so many kids in their class. They ain't got time to be talking to your badass child all day long. Stop, sit down, stop hitting Susie, stop hitting Johnny. That's your job as a parent. The teacher's job is to teach your child, is not to discipline, say, hey, Johnny, 15 times a day. Oh, don't do this. That's not their job. See, send your child, I'm not saying this about you, Fast and Feelings, but send your child to school knowing that if your teacher called me about some foolishness, I'm going to put my foot where it ain't supposed to be. So to put that on the child, the student, there's, and in a lot of cases, teachers are told not to get involved when children are fighting. They're told, call security. Don't break it up. There's teachers who've gotten in trouble for doing that. So how is that the teacher's fault that your child is bad as hell? It's not their fault. So Valerie says, well, we did fight our own battles, but parents got involved when it was more than one. But one-on-one, you had to handle it. And like I said, I was always too cute to be fighting. I have gotten a scuffle or two, not that one that I started. My daughter was too cute to be fighting, so I was not raising her to be no brute little girl or nothing like that. Thunder says, oh, no, we had to get out there and get busy. First class tickets to Fifth City. Well, I guess so. Black America says that's the difference between people. We need to have our children learn to protect and handle their own self. Now everybody wants to help and protect all the time. You damn skippy, especially when it comes to mine. I don't care who it is, okay? Ain't nobody putting their hands on mine without me having something to say about it, because we not raising little demons. Not. DSB says I was taller than most in middle school. Yeah, I bet people thought twice about you, right? Fast Not Feeling says the law is the jungle will get us all living like wild animals. Not a good idea. It's all downhill after that. Well, get for the other animals out there in the animal wild kingdom, get your kids under subjection so that my child or me don't have to deal with it. Because like I said, I will not be held hostage to nobody else's bad behavior, and I will not expect my children, my nieces and nephews, and anybody else to have to run around walking on eggshells because your child can't behave. It's just the way it's got to be. Keisha says the world is so much more vicious now. This is a hard one without more information. What was the parents of the bully's response to them informing him his child's daughter bad behavior? I don't know exactly what the response was, but he said that he's alerted a whole bunch of people. They've had conversations and it still continued. So whatever his response was, his daughter was not listening to him. So maybe his daughter will listen to him now, but I agree with, I don't know if I agree with necessarily the physical part of it, but I get his conviction and wanting to protect his daughter. I totally get that. Like I said, my heart never pumped no Kool-Aid when it came to my child at all. And let's see.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. And I think this is a good question that would kind of maybe stop some of the bullying that goes on. Unfortunately, we do have a caste system in the United States. And a lot of school districts are against uniforms because they feel that it stifles individuality. I went to Catholic school for a lot of years where everybody wore uniforms. So no matter what your social economic status, everybody looked the same. You know what I mean? Kind of basic like that. What are your thoughts on maybe something like that? Because a lot of bullying comes from, you know, maybe this person doesn't have Jordans on, or this person doesn't have a certain weave on, or doesn't have the latest thing of that. A lot of bullying comes from things, you know, like that, of jealousy, basically. What do you think about maybe mandatory uniforms? I know they do it in Louisiana and Mississippi, where the school systems, all the school systems, everybody wears uniforms. So what do you think about something like that?
I mean, I think that could probably cut down on that problem as far as jealousy over clothes, but bullying comes from people usually that have low self-esteem. And with that low self-esteem comes envy and jealousy. And when people are envious and jealous, then they tend to act out and do things to people. So it's more than a static thing, it's more internal. So I think that needs to be dealt with. And I think most people who bully probably were bullied, or are probably going through some things, or they were taught to be mean or something like that. So it could cut down a little bit, but I think it's more to it than just clothing. And Emmy says your own kids fight amongst each other. Now what? I mean, then you as a parent, you figure out what you need to do to get them to get along. That's the job of a parent. It's not easy, but that's your job nevertheless. And how you achieve that. But you don't let your children go beating the hell out of each other. That's not good. It's a reflection on you as a parent if your children are behaving in that way, because they learning it from somewhere. And Lane says, as soon as daddy pull out a belt, I'm gonna be like, but daddy, you didn't beat them, men like that. What? Facts and Feelings says, now we know why there's so much gun violence in the Black community. Why, if you don't mind me asking you, why is there so much gun violence in the Black community? If you don't mind me asking. And how it correlates to what we are talking about here. Corey says, I would have done the same thing. Okay. William says, I support martial arts. I want my grandkids in Krav Maga. Okay. And DSB says, facts. And back in the days, we didn't fight to hurt each other. Nowadays, they pulling out weapons on top of that. You know, now you're seeing people getting stomped in the head and stomped on. And what kind of fighting is that? These kids are fighting, you know, to end people. So why would you want your child to have to go through that? We've heard of a copious amount of stories with children, you know, have gotten into a fight and didn't make it out, or severely injured. So it's like, nah, even if they was just slapping each other, I would not want not raising my daughter to be acting like that. So no. Black Americans is fighting as a young man sets your pecking order, your status, your place in the group, in life. I mean, I get that to some degree, but I don't think anybody wants to just run around, rock them, sock them all day long. That sounds like more like the wild animal kingdom. DSB says black belt here and highly military trained. Okay. Let's see here. What? Ryan says, what? Show you what? Willie says, and if you do need to put hands on a parent, don't upload a video online telling what you did. Nah, that I agree with. Totally agree with that part of it. You will not get any arguments from me on that. JW says, I used to bite and didn't care. Oh. AM says, yes, that's where signifying, some call it the dozens, Jones, etc. It was done to toughen you up for life. Yeah, we played the dozens. We was jonesing on each other, bagging. We did all of that, you know, but it was words. But sending your child to school and you know they catching the bad one, everything, hell to the no. I'm a weak parent. I really do.
Well, let me ask you this. See, Dimitri, you're a little young, so you don't remember this, okay? We used to fight with our boom box, put it down with the cardboard, and we used to just go ahead and breakdance fight and just get it done. You know what I mean? Who had the best crew? Then you bring that female out that started pop locking on you, and that was it. It was over. So we didn't have to fight with our hands or knives and guns. We just used what was available.
Yeah, there's different times. You know, we didn't have all this violence and stuff that's on 24 hours. It's at your hand, your fingertips, the phones. So violence is we are so desensitized, and we knew we would get here. So you want your child out there fighting people who act like that? It ain't back in the day when we would push and shove and fight. All right, you good? I'm good. these children nowadays, and then you got these ignorant Negroes on. When I say ignorant Negroes, I mean that of like Kendrick Lamar and Drake. They got these rap beefs going, and you know, a lot of the people that follow them ain't got the sense God gave a cricket, so they might try to take it a step further. And a lot of those people happen to be children to think that to handle disagreements is to go to violence. So, you know, the average logical thinker says nowadays the staff will not divulge the kids' names or give out the parents' info. I also ask if we can talk together, and they always say, "Let's us speak with the parents." Yes, they try that, but I'm like, if I got to be here, they got to be here too. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna keep coming up here behind their children, messing with my child, and they don't get to come and have a conversation. I don't think so. But in that particular situation, the principal did handle it. And he says they told me they had no reason why they were messing with your daughter. So they stopped from that point because whatever he did was effective. So I don't know.
Stop because your daughter's father probably paid them a visit behind the scenes.
Let me tell you something. Okay. He does not play when it comes to his children. I've seen him go to jail behind it. Okay, I'm just gonna let you know. Let's see. Right, Willie says school like this is Sparta. Like you're right, the gladiators and stuff. Hassan, okay, so you want us to know about Allah and Jesus. Thank you. Hello, love. How you doing? Says I will not put my hands on a child, but my kids can defend themselves just like I did. Yeah, you know. That, like I said, I never sent my daughter to school to be getting them up with nobody. And that's not even saying whether she could fight or not. Why would I want her to do that? You know, I would not want her to do that.
And my mom's doctrine was don't be starting fights, but you damn sure finish it.
And if you don't?
No, see that wasn't an issue. I damn sure finished it.
Right. Let me say it's different for men. I guess, like I said, I got a daddy, and my daddy ain't no punk. Trust me, okay. And he, you know, we had that upbringing too. Don't come home and let me find out somebody beat up your, you know, sibling or whatever, and you ain't do nothing. Yeah, I had that too. But my dad also has some sense, and he know how to intervene when things when he needed to do that. So it may be different for men, but I think cooler heads should prevail, and if they don't, then we go on to plan B and whatever else needs to come after that. So, and trust me, not now one of my brothers is punks. None of them. Not now one of them. M says, I'm not in the mix to observe, but is school fights the exception or the rule? It's probably the exception still. I don't think that there's what they're doing all day long. I think, you know, there's fights that happen, right? People have disagreements and they don't know how to handle it. But, you know, the bullying is what I have a problem with. You continuously bullying people, kids. Yeah, that's a whole different situation. Yanaka, how you doing? Says, yes, some parents don't have time and send them to boarding schools. Yeah. Alonzo says, he says, I do agree, Dimitri. I have sons ranging in age 28 to 40. They're not soft by any means, but they had sense enough to know when to call dad. Yeah, you know, then what happens now, you, Alonzo, but you get the phone call, something happened to your child because you sent them out there into the lion's den to repeatedly trying to prove his manhood by getting whooped on. You know, I don't know. I get it, but then I don't. DSB says, I'm glad I'm a man. I am today. I feel like I need to protect my kings. And most importantly, my queens. They come first. It's easy now for me to walk away before I hurt anyone, but don't push me. That's what I'm saying. Macy, how you doing? Says, I bet Rochelle would have gone to school and said what that mother said. If only she knew Chris was bullied every day by Caruso. I don't know who that is, but okay, but welcome. Thunder says, fair East Side High, fair East Side.
Lean on me. He's singing the lean on me thing. Fair East Side. Sing the song. Sing the school song right now. Sing the school song.
DeWood, he says, how you doing? He says, I call Cap. What dude, he ain't about that life. I don't even know who you're talking about. Yeah, Rosado Cotinga says, I watch my son tussle just to see how he handles himself unless the kid is older. Okay, Monica says, I think the other thing about bullying is that when we were kids, pre-social media, we could escape it when we went home. Today, yep, bullying continues online, so early intervention is needed to deter that. I totally agree with you. So Lane, you say this is not that, and black and whatever race, my dad was never scared to face a man. Trust me, mine either. And even to this day, at 80 years old, my dad act like he's 16, ready to rock him, sock him. Itali Rauchi, and I'm sorry I jacked your name up. It says homeschool your babies. I agree. If I had a child that was school age, my child would be at home, homeschool. Because these things they send to school today, Because I know I don't have the right temperament to deal with the children today. So yeah, my daughter definitely would be homeschooled. JW, it says it's not what it's cracked up to be, but I don't support privatized, healthcare. Oh, so y'all talking to each other. Okay, got you. DSB says, and you're still too beautiful to be fighting. Yeah, I said it. We need to let our queens know they are beautiful. Yeah. Especially with our daughters. Like, we ain't sending our kids' daughters to school to be having a, and these girls too be liking to scratch their faces up and hell to the no.
But isn't it statistically proven that women fight more in the schools than the boys do?
I don't care who the Jolly Green Giant was fighting with Mickey Mouse more. My thing was my daughter was not going to school to fight nobody. William says the teachers are now in jeopardy and many of them are quitting. Yep, kids are now trying to bully the teachers. Trying to. We've seen a lot of videos of them doing it, right? Saw one where the student slapped the teacher twice in her face. And the other kids are just recording it. You say due to parents' racism. So when you treat a kid as grown as it wants to be, you're wrong. I can dig it. All right, so let me skip down just a little bit. Hello, Lovey says, little white kids be bullying these kids all day. Teachers do nothing. Right, and the kid that was doing that to my daughter, she was white. And guess who didn't care? And they called a black police officer in, and he tried to tell me, I don't know. Because when I was telling them that she was doing that to my daughter, I didn't see you. I said, why they didn't call you? He says, that's a good question. Yeah, let's get that answer before you come trying to, chastise me for protecting my child. So he got where I was going with it. And nevertheless, I never seen him again. All right, let's see. Lane says, now if you raise your kids right, they will not set you up. Good point. William says, I think uniforms are appropriate. It's not a school social club. They wear uniforms in third world countries. Yeah, in a lot of cases, they have to in order to go to school. And Sharice, how you doing? Says, if things that are going on in schools were going on in parents' homes, the government was sending social services. Are schools too dangerous for kids to attend? Are schools too large? I think both of those answers to those are yes. I totally do. Because back then, the classrooms were smaller, right? Even when we were in school, they were smaller. Some of these teachers got 30, plus children in a class, All right, so let me skip down. Hey, MC Fact, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yonaka, he says, Demetri K, do you believe in some teachings of Shahrazad Ali? I do. I don't like her conversation about that of Farrakhan, which is where she got her teaching is from the Nation of Islam. But yeah, I agree with her teachings. I don't have a problem with her teachings at all. V the T Queen, how you doing? Says, I was tall and there was still a few who feel quiet means I'm a punk. Okay. Tia to you, how you doing? Says, I went to private school with just us indigenous. We had uniforms and that does not stop bullying, but paying into your learning system makes a difference. Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that would stop it. If that's why people are bullying you, maybe. But Easy says the school shootings in America all have a bullying component to it. Can be traced back to bullying to some degree. Yep, most of those have said that they've been bullied. They found it in their manifestos that they were bullied. That's what I think what happened with Columbine, if I'm not mistaken. They said they were being bullied and nobody did anything about it. Not saying it's right, but you really have to get a handle on that. Don't just let it continue because kids will be kids or you call your kids soft because they can't, overcome bullying. Oftentimes adults have to step in. So Sammy, how you doing? Says, damn, Donovan, what you said is fact. We as Black community have to always accept all batteries included. Okay. And Italio Rucci, he says, you either separate your children when they fight or challenge them to fight if they want to fight. Yeah, I just think, we should try to figure out a way to help them get along. I mean, I have fights with my siblings, not often, but they usually came with consequences too of fighting your siblings. Thunder says, I say that there is gun violence because most folks are scared to knuckle up, and most that pull guns are cowards at heart. But for those of us who had dust-ups on the reg, you win or you lose. That's it. Yeah, back in the day, right? That's how it was. You walked away. But nowadays, they just keep coming for you, and then shoot up your house and all kind of crazy stuff. So it's like, now we need to nip that in the bud, JW says, Dimitri, I was talking elementary school. Unfortunately, I wasn't a great fighter with my fists. And yes, I was a dirty fighter. I had to. Yeah, my daddy said ain't no such thing as a fair fight. He always said that. He said, you do what you got to do to win the fight. Because people say, oh, you don't fight fair. It's fighting supposed unless you boxing, right? In the ring. But ain't nothing off the table when you come to defend yourself. Whether it's biting, it's kicking, it's pulling hair, it's throwing sand in the eyes, whatever you. That's how I was taught. I was taught to be a dirty fighter. It was no, okay.
Again, like I said, I'm not saying it's a thing, but that's a woman's answer. That's definitely a woman's answer.
That's what my daddy taught me.
I understand because you're a woman. I understand it. I get it. That's a woman's answer.
Ain't no such thing as a fair fight. Your objective is to win by what did Malcolm say? By any means necessary.
Yes. And but again, men, we look at we don't escalate. We use the exact force that's used against us. Now, if it's a life and death situation, that's totally different. But when you're just getting with somebody, it's just different. Men look. Wait. Men, just let me finish. Men look at it differently, and I can guarantee you, most of those men in the chat will say if they were in armed combat, they are not going to go get a branch or a tree if a guy's just using his fist. We're not going to do that. There's a little honor among gentlemen.
As I said, I was taught that from my daddy. My dad said there's one thing I remember. He says there's no such thing as no fair fight. I remember when a pit bull had hemmed me up, and I was on the phone with my daddy, as a matter of fact, and I started to cry. This was like about 5 years ago. I started to cry because I was like, Daddy, and I was crying because I'm scared of dogs, and the dog was ferocious, right? I was scared to move. But I was crying because I didn't want my dad to hear me get mauled to death, because I felt like that's what was going to happen. So my dad was like, did you see a stick? I said, no, Daddy, there's nothing. You don't see nothing, a rock or nothing? I said, no, I don't see nothing. I'm scared to move. So I was just going to throw my phone and hope the dog go run for my phone. But then I was like, if I throw my phone in, so then luckily that's kind of messed up. But a lady came around the corner. Not luckily, but a lady came around the corner and the dog ran for her. And I ran through the park and I called my daughter. My daughter was coming around and I said, we got to go save that lady. Sure enough, we drove around the corner and the dog had the lady hemmed up. And so my daughter drove the car up on the dog and the dog ran away. But somebody would probably say, well, that wasn't fair. But my daddy was like, you need to find anything. And as a matter of fact, he says, next time you go walking, you get you a little small can of carburetor spray. And if that dog runs up on you, he said, you give him hell. So, and Roland, how you doing? I hope you're doing well.
Wait, and I want to say this. You guys, Roland has been dropping some gems on her YouTube page. Go there, subscribe. I mean, we all got to connect and, and keep this information flowing. So do me a favor. If you guys get a chance, go over there, subscribe, like her YouTube page. She's dropping gems.
Yes, indeed. Damn, I'm behind. All right, let me go back. Okay, I do see your comments, but I'm just I need to skip down because I didn't realize I was so far behind. Oh my lordy. All right, I'm actually just gonna go to the did I get to the bottom? Oh, let me go to the bottom. Gilbert, how you doing? Says my dad said the same thing. Okay, and I know I'm behind, so I don't know exactly what they said. Yes, Miss Sweets, he says, slapping a teacher now, he's getting charged as an adult. Shaking my head as it should be, because he slapped her twice. Like hair, glasses went flying off, and she just sat there, because she's probably thinking, okay, this kid is probably gonna really hurt me, but if I get up and defend myself, he's probably gonna really do more bodily harm, or I might lose my job. So she just sat there, and I really felt bad for her. Like, damn, that lady didn't go to school to be slapped in her face like that. And then nobody else, tried to help her. They filmed it. It's like, but yet then we mad because teachers are quitting because they don't want to deal with people's Frankensteins. I don't know. It's sad. One who cares says, I have had to tell a student, I'd fight a student. This young lady was off the chain. Admin didn't do much about her ill behavior. Right. As a teacher, they want you to try to, okay, Susie, let's use our indoor voice. Don't. And then when she swing on you, protect yourself. You might lose your job because I guess you're supposed to just let her beat the crap out of you. So it's crazy. Like I said, there wouldn't not be enough money for me to teach these children today. I'm sorry. Thunder says there's a fight and then there's fighting for your life. There's two different things. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. You run up on me, I'm not going to be trying to sort out how I'm going to fight you. If you run up on me, I'm going to neutralize you any and every way I can. Ain't no, like I said, ain't no fair fight. You put your hands on me, I'm going to try to do my best to make sure you never do that again. And I'm not going to be strategic about it either. Alonzo says, back in the day, everyone wasn't toting. He says, I've been fighting since I was 5. Always use my head if you know karate or Kareza, James Brown, right? Abdullah, how you doing? He says, one-on-one scrapping. Yeah, they ain't doing that no more. They not one-on-one scrapping no more. You seeing droves of kids stomping and kicking and all kind of stuff. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Lane says, I don't know, but somebody old enough to drove her there. Okay, so hey, Brina, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Facts Not Feeling says a lot of these kids have major emotional problems that go untreated. Go untreated because our government refused to help the citizens. My parents never needed no government to help raise us at all. Never, not one time. So I get it there. I get where you're going with it, but I think that's ultimately the parents' job. It's not the teacher's job. It's not the government's job, because the minute the government get in your business, then you're going to be mad. So it's your job as a parent to raise your child, And I know, especially nowadays, I guess it's hard because there's people who are just distracted, right? They got a lot of stuff going on, don't really want to raise a child, spend time with the child no more. Then you send them off to school as a vacation for you for 8 hours, and you send them off there not disciplined, and the poor teacher's drunk up in the damn car because they dealing with your child. So I don't know. I never needed no government to help me raise my daughter. Never one time. So I don't know. Don says, I don't use my hands. My mother used to say that you need your hands for working. I got it. MC Fact says, in some cases, you have to file a police report. I get it, but sometimes the police, they'll come with us talk, and these kids ain't scared of no police today. Hello Love says, a pipe, stick, whatever. That's right. Yeah. My dad didn't say, try to whisper to the dog. See if you can whistle and get him to tell him to sit down. Let's see. MC Facts in some cases. Okay, got that. Oh, I got to the bottom. Facts I feel says, Demetria, it's very expensive to get health care to treat an emotionally unstable child. In every other country in the world, the government helps the citizens with stuff like that. So that I do agree with. Child's emotionally unstable. They might have other things going on that's beyond the parents' control. So I get that. There should be some sort of help. I think a lot of schools do have some resource programs, although it's kind of tricky because they see that as an opportunity to put your child in special needs courses, and they label them, and that follows them throughout their academic career, and they're also always known as that problem child. And so that's kind of where it gets tricky when the school gets involved. But I agree, there should be some more resources to help parents. But in some cases, the kids just need a good, swift kick in their behind.
You want to know why we don't have the resources for things like this? Is because we give almost $1 trillion to the military, and we're in peacetime, and we give money overseas, and we're doing the migrant stuff. This is why we don't have money for that. And what a lot of us do as hardcore Democrats, we sit there and we complain and we holler about what we don't have, and we see the money going right out the damn door.
Yeah. M says, one can't deny the influence of the government, education, healthcare, media, housing, wages, taxes, environment, and on and on. He says, I recommend homesteading or joining the Mormons. Oh, I don't know if the Mormons really like us all like that. But I get it. William says, student loan interest rates go up July 1st. There's so many people with student loan debt. They're like, okay, but that sucks, you know. Lane says, yeah, they'll make sure she gets painted out to be innocent. JW says, my worst fights were with a racist Portuguese neighbor. Hood, he says, for 23 years, we fought over his noise and harassment. I sent to the hospital 3 times. He was sent to the hospital 3 times. The third was the worst. Wow. Facts and Feelings says, money for everything except for the citizens. Yep. Well, not these citizens, right? Somebody, other country citizens, but not the citizens that pay the taxes.
Right. Can I ask you a question? And this is a question for anybody that can answer. I know times have changed, but remember when we were growing up, Demetra, there was always a parent at home and things like that. I understand it takes 2 parents to work nowadays, but when it comes to the kids and being bullying and not having that attention, how do you say, wouldn't that be like, we know that's one of the causes, but do you see what I'm saying? When we get away from, these, what's the solution to do that? Because again, it's very important to have that parent that's at home to give you that attention and do all those other things. And I know it's not possible in the modern age, but I don't see an answer to the solution in regards to, parents out there that just let their kids go wilding out and don't give a damn. I mean, you got parents right now that are on the wacky tobacco and doing it with their kids like it's no big deal. So, I mean, to me, I'm looking at it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and I say it all the time. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I say this is the worst generation of parents. I really do. And that's part to us. My generation, our generation is kind of the ones that raised them, right? And I just think that they have a lot working against them as well. You got social media, you got constant, everything is on, nothing ever shuts off. So the children are being raised by the internet, the phones, the tablets, or whatever it is. The parents are also connected in. And we don't hold the same values that we had as we were raised. I remember being taught, not even in church, but even in school, the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. But now people, I don't even know if they even talk about that anymore. And that meant something back then, right? Because it made sense. I'm going to treat people like they treat me, or I want to be treated, But we're just dealing with a different mindset altogether. There's parents that don't think it's a problem that their kids are adverse to another child's well-being. They don't think it's a problem. Or even the teacher, well, what did you say to them? Why you taking their phone? You should have took their phone. Never mind why I called you, but you more mad that I had to, take action against your child that's using the phone in class or whatever. I remember when the cell phones first came out with the camera phone. My daughter was in junior high. She came home and told me as they were changing in the locker room, somebody's flash from their camera phone went off. And so I went to the PE teacher. I said, are you aware that somebody is taking pictures in the locker room as these girls are getting undressed? And she says, no, I wasn't aware of that. I said, well, I'm going to tell you right now, my daughter will not be getting undressed in this class anymore because I don't know where that picture went or any of that kind of stuff. So you see what I'm saying? So it's just so much going on now. It's like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm hopeless, but I don't see it getting better no time soon.
Yeah, I don't see it getting better. Like I said, I live right near a high school. And when I see those kids get out of school, I'm seeing these kids tatted up, all kinds of, and I'm thinking, how is the parent not locked up? How do you tat a child that is under 18 years old? How is that legal? It's like I said, worst case scenario of parents. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Brina says you're definitely right about that. The parents today are horrible. They are, and I don't say that to be mean. I just they suck. William says, "Hey, it's going to get better. There are fewer babies being born worldwide. Stats everywhere are down. Yeah, people are probably scared." you know, Michael says, "How about developing a work program for kids to attend to work with their parents to reduce emotional stress?" What other thing of that is
Well,
they
how
got
you gonna pay for it?
yeah, and the parents gotta want to go. I'm good. I don't need to go. I'm good. You know. And Alex says,
And
just
then
remember
that
what.
parent got to take off of work. They're losing money. There's no way that that's not going to happen.
Let's keep it a book. Some of these kids that acting like, I was gonna say something that I shouldn't say, but acting like demons. A lot of parents don't even go to work. I also just remember what James told Florida when Michael was getting bullied, and what was that? I'm sure Donovan probably remembers.
Different folks, same strokes.
Oh, that's funny. Miss Sweet says, we are the crack babies. I mean, 80s and 90s babies. So our children may be a little problematic. Yeah. You know, I was researching the whole crack baby epidemic, and they actually said that crack did not affect the babies as they were saying that it did. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But there might be, you know. But yeah, this generation of parents, I feel sorry for the grandmamas, the grandpapas, the teachers, because as I always say too, these parents nowadays, they don't want you to watch the kids while they go out to a dinner or go to the grocery store. They want you to watch.
I got a job interview or something.
Yeah, they want you to watch the kids while they go off on a week to 2 week vacation and with some me time. It's like ain't no,
and maybe not even come back.
Yeah, no, nah, you ain't the me time. I already said you had the me time when your legs were straight up in the air. That was your me time, okay? I don't know what to tell you after that. Yeah, I watch, and like I said, like I wouldn't want mine. I don't have any grandchildren yet, but I wouldn't mind watching the child if the child's parents maybe want to go on a weekend getaway, because I do love kids, but the parents, you on a weekend getaway, yeah, I love to watch them. But if you out there tricking off and doing the hell to the now, because what you're going to do is bring some more back talking about I need you to help me, and I'll be like, where the daddies?
And that's exactly what's going on, though. Again, I'm not downing women that are single mothers by choice and all this other. So I'm not downing it, but the single motherhood is a failure. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're perpetuating the same cycle over and over and over again. It's sad.
Yeah, Fast and Fellow says the reason why less kids are being born is because Western culture, feminism, women working, etc., is spreading across the planet. Yeah, there's a lot of things, and a lot of people, men and women, don't want to be single parents or any of that. There's a lot going on. It's expensive to raise a child if you do it right. And I'm not saying do it extravagantly, but if you do it right, it costs money, to raise a child. So there's a lot of people can't afford to be creating children. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, feminism has something to do with it. A lot of women who just don't want to procreate, they're like, I'm good. It's about me. And I respect that. I respect anybody who says I don't want to have children because I'm too selfish, opposed to them having children and saying I'm too selfish. Be selfish without the kids, because a lot of times the children go through things they shouldn't go through, being raised, if you will, by selfish parents.
Well, I'm going to have me a couple more kids before I kick the bucket. So I ain't letting these benefits die with me. I'm gonna get it out there.
Yeah. So yes, what it's for. You worked hard your whole life to spend your money. If there's some left over, then by all means. Black America says, Donovan, do you watch BMF Power or the show Empire? I do.
I have never watched those shows. I've never watched The Fresh Prince. I've never really watched The Cosby Show, Different World. I've never really watched those shows because either I was overseas and AFN didn't broadcast it because it's a predominantly Black show. Of course, they wouldn't broadcast that. And then when I was in the military, I was too busy in the Middle East doing all that other stuff. So I never really watched Jamie Foxx show. I never really watched those shows. Martin, I would get a little pieces of there and there, but I just don't watch TV like that.
Yeah, I watched BMF. I just finished it. It was pretty good, actually. I won't give it away, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's based off a Black Mafia family, loosely based, if you will, off a true story. There's a lot of violence, but it's so over the top. It's comical sometimes. I've watched Power as well. Lane says Joyce Meyer's father was molesting her, and her mother knew. That's why they're doing in some two-parent homes. Yeah, and you're right, because I hear that a lot. As a single mother, households are the worst. And there was this guy. I wish I could find it. I'll find it one day. He broke it down. He said that actually, statistically speaking, say that two parents households are the worst. And he also tied that into prison statistics, saying that a lot of them had two parents in the household. So the single mother, bad household is a myth per se. It's not the worst household to be in. And the numbers back that up. So you're right. There's two parents. Hell, the Melendez brothers killed both of their parents. Both of their parents was in the household. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I think that's the ultimate that you can do to somebody. Let's see here. William says, doctors saw more younger men seeking vasectomies after Roe v. Wade was overturned. I bet, right? And I'm with it. If you don't want to have children, do what you need to do to not have children, because it's sad to bring children into the world that you don't really love. I think you should really love children to bring them in the world. And if you don't plan to bring them in, which most of us probably weren't planned, right? Figure out a way to love and take care of them. It breaks my heart to hear about children that are abused. I don't know if y'all saw about the case of the little boy. He was 6, and he had one of those tough as nails daddies, that had no compassion. He had the little boy running on a treadmill at a very fast speed because he said the little boy was too fat. And so what happened was the little boy kept falling off the treadmill, and he kept falling and bumping his head and, just really hard. And the dad kept picking him back up, putting him on the treadmill, going really fast. And it kept falling off. So he picks the little boy up and he bites him on the top of his scalp, bite him real hard. 6 years old, mind you, having him run on there. So later on, he goes to bed, and then, he's not feeling well. Eventually, he takes him to the hospital. He waited a day, takes him to the hospital, and the doctor said that he had contusions on his heart, his lungs, every body part. Now, originally, he said he didn't know what happened to him. But little did he know, at his apartment gym, there was a camera. And that's how I could tell you all the details of what was going on. The camera filming the whole thing. He wanted his son, I guess, to be tough. And the little boy wasn't fat. But when I see, I saw it once and I couldn't watch it again. But the mom, she tried to, they weren't together. And she kept telling the judges, hey, my son is being abused. My son is being abused. The judge didn't think that was the case. And there they are. The dad is on trial for essentially murdering his son because, he wanted him to be tough. He wanted him to run on a treadmill. And he was just abusing him. And so when I hear about cases like that, I'm like, why on earth? If you don't like the kid, just let the mom have him. Why take that child through that? And I'm not going to lie to y'all. Sometimes when I hear about the things that happen to children, I question, and I'm just being honest with y'all. Is there really a God? Because what God would allow a child to endure such horror? I'm just being honest with you. Sometimes I wonder that, because it's like, what did that child ever do to deserve, any child for that matter that is abused? What did they ever do to deserve that?
Yeah, and that's a good question. But, sometimes when I read the Bible, and I'm not a religious person, but God commanded whole nations to be destroyed. What do those people do to deserve that? It's just, I think it's just the nature of the God,
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying, I don't have all the answers. I never said that I do, but when I see stuff like that, I'm like, what God would allow.
It questions your soul, yeah. It questions.
Yeah, what? I mean, I'm not saying that God doesn't exist. I just, I don't think I'm not one of those people think I'm going to hell for questioning. I wonder that, like, what God would see a child. I mean, what that, and there's children who go through even worse, right? But thinking about that case, what God would see that and say, huh? You know, I don't know. I like I said, I have questions, but it makes me ill when I hear children being abused, and I don't know. It's crazy. Uh in fact, I feel it says the father should go to jail for a long time for doing that to little boy. Yeah, I don't know whatever happened with the case. I don't know if it's still going on. It was like a week or so ago. But his lawyers are saying that he didn't, there was no intent. But if you see the video, there's definitely intent there. I mean, especially biting him on his head and holding him up with his teeth so he can run on. That's, I felt bad for his mom, because she's sitting there, she's weeping, she's having to hear that, the evidence being presented, and just knowing that I did everything I could to try to save my child from his father, who's a monster, and nothing worked. So it's crazy. Hello, Lovey says should have a dog. You shouldn't have a dog, let alone a son. I totally agree with you. William says, yes, global fertility rates have been declining from around 5 children per woman in 1950 to 2.2 children in 2021. The global total fertility rate has more than halved over the past 70 years. Yeah, most definitely. Black America says that is abuse, but no man wants their son to be a punk. I mean, I don't even know. So you bully your child?
But is that bullying? I guess what it is would be the term that you're using. Like I said, because as a father, you can't really say what I do to my child is what the term you would use for your child. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I know when I see a child being abused in that way, and that's bullying, to have your child run on a very fast speed on a treadmill and he can't keep up because he's falling off, and you keep picking him up and putting him back on there, and that's bullying. That's, you're going to do what I say do, or you're going to face some consequences. That's bullying. That's exactly what that is. It's probably worse than that. So that has nothing to do with a person.
Well, I would disagree. That's your interpretation. I would disagree.
Well, and so what? I can't think of anybody. If y'all can think of a reason why what I just described would be a way of a father depunkifying his child, if y'all think that's cool, say I think it's cool. But I just don't know how Black America and Donovan sit up here and try to justify or try to reason with what I just described. And I don't advise anybody watch it because it's very hard to watch, but I don't see how anybody could make sense of that.
Yeah. Now, again, everybody has their opinion. Everybody's opinion is valid. Like I said, your interpretation of that would be bullying. Other people's interpretation of that, as a father, how I interact with my child, you might look at me and say, wow, he's bullying his child, when that might not be the case at all. That's what we're saying. Your interpretation, especially when it's the father. If I was a total stranger, maybe I would interpret it different because I have no aspects of the child. I see fathers all the time pushing their sons playing basketball, football, baseball, whatever. So basically, your interpretation, from what I'm understanding, is that would be bullying. I don't see it that way. Maybe he pushed the kid too far, whatever. But when it comes to the parents themselves, I don't think that bullying would be the proper term, in my opinion, in regards to a person's child. How do you bully your own child?
I'm just putting this up here. I'm just putting this up here because, like I said, you have your opinion. I just would never even think of that. I can't think of too many men. And like I said, my dad is a man's man, and I would think, my brother would say he was pretty tough on him, but my dad, I don't think would ever result to that. That's
I'm not saying that the outcome was bad, or the child wasn't abused, whatever. I'm just saying, when a parent is over their child, regardless of what I think, it might be, in my opinion, that that's abuse, but in that household, how do you know that that's abuse? That might be an everyday thing. And I know it's like rationalizing it, but like I said, outside looking in, everybody has their opinion. So like I said, I see young men being pushed all the time in sports. Would that be considered bullying? According to your definition, it would. That's all.
Hello Love says, my children can handle a lot of rough play, but not all sons can. More Threads says, I agree, Demetri. I saw the case and it's extreme. I am all for my child's father disciplining, but I'm not going to sit there and let nobody tell me that was okay. Yeah, I don't see how anybody can justify, even though his attorneys are trying to justify it, but joke was on him because it was all being recorded. And that was not no mental toughness or, physical training. That was flat out abuse. Because what part of you biting your son's scalp and holding him up is training him to be a man? Exactly. Kesha, you say everyone does not have a good intention toward their child. Yeah, some people really hate their children. Lane says, I don't like seeing black men so hard on little black boys. It hurts my heart. I can't stand it. I mean, yeah, there's some fathers who are tough. And I think toughness is important. I think there's degrees to it. Are you trying to break your child's spirit, or are you trying to toughen them up? Because I think a lot of times you do end up breaking the child. And I've talked to a few men who said that their dads were just tough as nails, especially men who had police officers for fathers. It was just flat out abusive, trying to toughen them up or make sure they don't go wayward, but then you abuse them at home. It's crazy. Dwayne, how you doing? He says he just went too far. He wasn't understanding his son's full condition. He had a responsibility to know these things because pushing a hard workout like that on that boy. But his mom had complained a copious amount of times that he was abusing their son, and nobody listened to her until her ex-husband took it too far. So it wasn't like it was the first time. She had been complaining and nobody would help her, even the judges. So I was out to go think it says you can push a child, but know your child and their limitations. Yeah, you see that case. I mean, the child it's crying, it's falling. I mean, to the point to where his heart was I think they said it was contusions. Contusions all throughout his body from falling and hitting the ground in the treadmill, and he kept picking him up. That treadmill was probably going maybe 5 or maybe 6 speed. That's how fast that was going. Mind you, he's 6. And for those of y'all who are asking, yes, he did pass away.
And the sad thing is, especially when we have children, we think our child has exactly our genetics and can like be big and whatever. I mean, I had a stepson that was like 6'4", 250, whatever, but soft as a tissue because he had like, defect from the mom and stuff like that. So you got to look at the genetics as well. Sometimes you have your son or your child and you think, as a father, you think, oh, wow, he's going to be just like me. He's going to play football, whatever the deal is. But he might have a genetic defect that's going to affect him. And you got to know that because you're mating with somebody outside of your gene pool.
But yeah, that's true. But even still, I can't think of one woman that would marry a dude saying, I think he's potentially going to murder our children. And if they do, that's not something people just sit up and tell you. I may, harm our offspring. NC Fact said, here's a title to the treadmill abuse. Who is Christopher Greger? Dad forced son to run on treadmill before death. The trial resumed on Tuesday. Yeah, I need to see what happened. I hope that he is found guilty to the fullest extent of the law and he's sitting up there like he wasn't doing that when he was abusing that child. Ms. Sweetie says that was beyond abuse. The reason that's a reason hazing was banned from colleges because a lot of men don't know when to stop. Yeah, I don't get the hazing thing. I don't get it. Because that's a sense of bullying. To make somebody feel less than, to make yourself feel, I guess more important than Jamar. Did I say hello to you? If I didn't, hello. He says, fathers be smart. He says sometimes your child may suddenly see things as bullying past and present. Monitoring your child's opinion after providing your opinion is a big part of monitoring the situation. Remember, society's policies can use your child against you. I totally agree with you. Monica says, sadly, Demetri, I think sometimes a child comes into this world for a time to teach or punish a person or a brute beast so they can either repent or grow or not, and there will be consequences at Judgment Day. Yeah, but I've heard that before, but just the heinous things that the children go through is just, I don't get it. William says physical and mental toughness is almost a requirement for men, more so than an option. But the women are right there with us on that. I totally agree with you. Yeah, I think that's important. But like at what point is too far? Yeah, it is sad, Brina. And Hello Love says it's also a mental thing. Some moms make soft sons and dads try to toughen them up. Doesn't work. I totally agree with you on that. Totally. Alonzo says my sons were collegiate. Call it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. How do you say that? Collegiate.
Collegiate.
Yeah. Okay. I was saying Colgate toothpaste. Football players, I drove them harder on academics, never overstepped, not once. They're bigger than me. Yeah, there's a limit, a threshold, right? Your average logical thinker says 6 feet on speed on the treadmill. What the F? There's a special place in hell for that man. I would say at least. Now, I've been on the treadmill a few times, and at 6'7", and mind you, he's 6. He's a little guy, and he's to the point where he's flying off the treadmill as he falls. He's flying off. So it wasn't that he just tripped. He's like flying backwards. And the dad picks him back up, puts him on, and he's running. He's trying to, and he flies off of the treadmill again. So that's where his injuries came from.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, now that I'm thinking about it, what father or parent would put a young child like that on a treadmill?
He kept saying his son was too fat. And he wasn't. In fact, the dad had an ad.
But why not just run him regularly? I wouldn't put a child on a treadmill when they could run outside and do what they got to do outside. So that was a really bad judgment call on the father's part.
Yeah, he just was an evil fool is what it was. Black America says my son had horrible asthma. Was always in the hospital. I pushed him, never went again. His mom didn't like it, but he can now run a marathon. Yeah. Some asthma people outgrow. My daughter was asthmatic as well. She doesn't suffer with it as much, but when she was in school, she had issues. I didn't let her use it as a crutch either, but I didn't push her too far because the last thing I wanted is for my daughter to be gasping for air because I had an ego issue, but I get it. All right. So anyway, y'all, we are going to get out of here.
I got an announcement real quick. I got the digital copy of the Fantastic Four from the 1960s all the way up to 2004. Every issue digitally done and everything like that. People say, what's the big deal about that? Because those comic books, I can print them out now, whatever. You ain't going to get any money for them. But the point is to have those comic books from those days when we were growing up. Did you guys know the number one first appearance of the Fantastic Four comic book is worth over $10,000?
And I'll be coming to get that. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Says a lot of these fathers have not been loved by their fathers, and when they become fathers, they don't know how to treat their sons. Your sons look up to you, and they look to you for support. I love it. And on that note, we are going to leave. But I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for the spirited conversation. We'll be back here on Sunday. Not sure what we'll talk about, but it'll be good nevertheless. Somebody text me, I was like, what? It'll be good nevertheless. So anyway, in the meantime, you guys do have a great rest of your evening, and we will see y'all later. Peace. Yeah, y'all look it up. Like I said, look at the video at your own risk. It's very tough to watch. It's sad. It's hard to forget it. Where is Walter? Yes, indeed. All right, see y'all later.